Hello and welcome to our new reading session. The same story, Harvesting Hope, but this is part 4. The school division is learn today, lead tomorrow, and the mission is creating well prepared individuals cognitively and behaviorally while focusing on developing psychomotor skills. The objectives we are reading on level text, and we're going to use context clues to find the meanings or to figure out the meanings of unfamiliar words. This is the story cover as usual. The title is Harvesting Hope, and the genre is a biography, and biography means a story of a real person's life that has been written by another person. So let's continue reading, and I have here one question. Why did Cesar hate school? This is page 224. The towns weren't much better than the fields. Okay, so we are here. Cesar and his family lost their ranch and they lost their life, and they had to move to California, and they had to work as workers in the fields. And he was talking about the physical pain that Cesar had suffered from while working on the fields with the lettuce and the beets and the grapes. And now he is continuing his story. The towns weren't much better than the fields. White trade only signs. Look here, he is talking about the towns and the shops in the towns, and usually he would find these signs. White trade only means that. What does this mean? What do you think? White trade only signs were displayed in many stores and restaurants, means only white people allowed and the colored people are not allowed. None of the 35 schools Cesar attended over the years seemed like a safe place either. So how many schools? 35. This is too many. And why did he move from one school to another? Maybe one reason was that he and his family are working as were workers in the fields, and they had to move from one place to another. But 35, this is too many. So there is another reason. What is it? Once after Cesar broke the rule about speaking English all the times, so he had in his school a rule that he has to speak English all the time, and once he broke this rule, what happened? A teacher hung a sign on him that read, "I am a clown. I speak Spanish." So this teacher thought that people who speak Spanish are clowns. This is so humiliating, and this is why he hated the schools, because he was forced to use English all the time, and the other people, the white people, were against the colored or the Mexican or people who spoke Spanish. He came to hate school because of the conflicts, though he liked to learn. This conflict between white people and colored people in the same school. Even he considered his 8th grade graduation a miracle. Miracle means something that cannot be believed, unbelievable. After 8th grade, he dropped out to work in the fields full time. So he completed till 8th grade and then graduated, and then he didn't go back to school. His lack of schooling embarrassed Cesar for the rest of his life, because he didn't continue his school years. But as a teenager, he just wanted to put food on his family's table. So why did he leave school? For 2 reasons. The first reason is that the conflict between white people and Spanish-speaking people or colored people in the school irritated him. And the second was that he wanted to help his family make things meat, like find enough food for them. As he worked, it disturbed him that landowners treated their workers more like farm tools than human beings. What does this mean? This means that they provided no clean drinking water, rest periods, or access to bathrooms. Can you imagine people working all day on a farm? They do not have clean drinking water. They cannot go to the bathroom, and they do not take any rest. Anyone who complained was fired, beaten up, or sometimes even murdered. So anyone who complained, anyone who objected on this oppressive treatment was fired, beaten up, or even murdered. So yes, these are like slaves. So, like other migrant workers, Cesar was afraid and suspicious whenever outsiders showed up to try to help. So, what is the meaning of outsiders? We're going to have a closer look on their role in his life. But till now, we know that outsiders are people who were not from the workers, but they wanted to help the workers find a better life. Okay, so what were some types of injustice that the workers suffered from? Yes, we have. This is the answer. How could they know about feeling so powerless? So this is what he was feeling. He felt that he was powerless. He has no power. Who could battle such odds? Who could fight for them? Yet Cesar had never forgotten his old life in Arizona and the jolt he'd felt when it was turned upside down, this pain that he felt when his life turned upside down from landowners to workers, and even roaming around crisscrossing the country picking up fruit and vegetables, trying to find a place to live. Farm work didn't have to be this miserable. Yeah, so he was thinking that working on a farm doesn't have to be such a terrible situation, doesn't have to be miserable. So miserable means sorrowful and sad and ugly. Reluctantly, these are the meanings. Reluctantly means in an unwilling and hesitant way. Reluctantly, he started paying attention to the outsiders. So he didn't like these outsiders, but because of this horrible situation he and his family were in, he was forced or pushed to listen to these outsiders. He began to think that maybe there was hope, and in his early 20s, he decided to dedicate the rest of his life to fighting for change. So he dedicated his life to fighting for change. Dedicated means devoted, or dedicate means devote. Again, he crisscrossed California, this time to talk people into. Talk into means to persuade someone. Okay, talk into means persuade. So this time to talk people into joining his fight. So now he has accomplished something like a union to fight for the rights of the workers. At first, out of every 100 workers, so each 100 he talked to, perhaps one would agree with him. People were ignorant, people were hungry, people were unsafe. These people didn't have any hope, they were miserable. No one agreed with him, and no one thought that he's going to succeed. But one by one, this was how he started. So he collected people from each 100 people he talked to, only one would join his fight. At the first meeting, Cesar organized a dozen women gathered. He sat quietly in a corner. After 20 minutes, everyone started wondering when the organizer would show up. So he gathered these women, and then he sat in a corner, and he was so embarrassed, maybe, or shy, and he was like hiding in the corner. But then Cesar thought he might die of embarrassment, so he was feeling shy. "Well, I am the organizer," he said, and forced himself to keep talking, hoping to inspire respect with his new suit and the mustache he was trying to grow. So he was still, like, for example, a teenager or a little bit a young man. The women listened politely, and he was sure they did so out of pity. Thank you so much, and see you in the virtual classes.